Ground control to Major Jinx.
Thought I'd start it with a little bit of humor. Hi fans of high quality entertainment. Today, we start the real reviews of David Bowie's discography. This is considered by most fans as his real debut album. I previously did a review for his 1967 debut album, but even David Bowie considers this his real debut, and so I guess I will too, with the hair floating in the air. So, in the States, I think it was originally released as David Bowie, A Man, His Music, I forget. I never bought that particular version of the album, but I do remember back in 1972 when it was re-released in the States, because Space Oddity had become a hit in the States, as Space Oddity. But the original version in the UK was just simply called David Bowie, just like his 1967 release. And in fact, it says right here on Wikipedia, David Bowie is the second studio album by the English musician David Bowie, released under that title by Philips in the UK, and, as there it is, Man of Words, Man of Music by Mercury in the US. On November 14th, 1969, it was reissued in 1972 by RCA Records at Space Oddity. I told you. I am Mr. Wikipedia. And in other words, I get some things wrong. So, I remember my brother in the 70s, he was buying the David Bowie albums, and I remember him buying this. I love Space Oddity. I think I heard the rest of this album at least once, and I wasn't impressed with it. I was just a kid. I was like 14 years old. And so through the years, I used to always think that this was just an okay album. I think I might have even bought it later on vinyl and played it once. I love Space Oddity, and the rest of it, it just didn't interest me. But since I've become a huge David Bowie fan, I now own all of his studio albums and quite a few live sets. When I bought this, whenever 3-4 years ago, I grew to absolutely love it. Love it. And it's one of those albums, I think, even with Space Oddity, I know it's an overplayed song, but if I'm listening to this album, I never skip it, and I totally enjoy it every time. But this is one of the albums that I think, for me, I can play it every couple weeks and never get bored of it. And with almost every listen, I seem to just love it more and more. It's been a gradual, from liking it started with it's okay, and then through the years it's like, oh, I like this, I like this, I love this, I love this. And now, and this definitely won't be my number one David Bowie album, but I seriously love this album. So, Space Oddity, if I had to pick the best song on this album, I think it would have to be Space Oddity. But that being said, Unwashed and Somewhat Slightly Dazed, when I'm listening to that at, the first few minutes, it's like, oh yeah, this is a good song. It's not my favorite, but I love the way it just, that riff, and it just continues on, and yeah, so I just love how it seems to get better as it goes along, is what I'm trying to say. I just woke up. Letter to, I apologize, I can't pronounce that name, Hermione. I know it was somebody that David knew. That's probably my least favorite song on the album, but I still love it. Signet Committee, if that's how you pronounce it, I love that. Janine, I used to kind of find it a bit annoying. It was a little too poppy for me. Janine, but now I love it. It's just some songs take a while to really appreciate. An Occasional Dream is incredible. Wild-Eyed Boy from Free Cloud is a epic. It's really well done. God Knows I'm Good, I love that song. And besides Space Oddity, I think my favorite song on this album is Memory of a Free Festival. Produced by Tony Visconti, who of course a few years later produced one of my favorite bands, Sparks, Indiscreet. So I love him as a producer. And yeah, I just absolutely love this album. I know some David Bowie fans think it's just, good or mediocre or whatever. But there are us fans that absolutely love it, including me. I also love the back cover there. So with my, starting with this, his real debut album, I guess, I'm going to change the ratings. Usually I say out of 10, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. But I'm going to do the A, B, C, D, so there's a bit more range with the ratings. But I'm going to rate this very highly. I'm going to rate this overall, I'm going to rate this an A-. And so far, on my ranking stale, I just woke up. On my ranking, this of course is better than his 1967 album, David Bowie. So this goes to number 1 so far. It'll be a bit more interesting when there's more than 2 CDs to rank. So, yeah, I love this album, David Bowie. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment below and let me know what you think of this album.